the next time you have to make a decision, just pause. We move too fast in this world. Pause, consider, think, feel, and take a breath and tap in to whatever it is that you have to make a decision about and listen to all those centers. What is your physical body telling you? What is your cognitive head saying? Okay, now what's my intuition saying? Hi there. Thank you for being with me today. I appreciate you, your energy being in this universe, and your attention being right here. I am grateful. I do this for you. I love to talk. I love to share information, but I also love to be a part of your growth, your expansion, and in a way that helps to expand our whole universe. Because I very much believe in the ripple effect, and that if we are all connected in ourselves, and if we're feeling secure in who we are, if we understand what happy means for us and what success means for us individually, then that we contribute that to the universe, and then the ripple effect goes out. Because the more secure we are, the happier we are, there's just going to be more love. There's going to be more joy. There's going to be more fun. There's going to be more silly. We are so serious. And yes, there's times in life where seriousness is needed and reverence is absolutely required. I just don't think it has to be all the time. And what I know from the spirit world, being an intuitive for 23 years, well, being intuitive my whole life, but being a professional intuitive for 23 years, is there's this lightness that exists in the spirit world and the energy world. It's beautiful. It's like things matter deeply. Like there's a deep, profound love and meaning just about everything. But there's also this lightness that makes it feel like there's no big deal. Like nothing matters. And it can be confusing to be in the middle of that and feel like, well, if everything matters and nothing matters, what the heck does that mean? But I feel like what it means is that in each moment we get to choose what matters to us and what's important. But we have to build on that by knowing who we are and by being sure of our own strengths and being consistent with what happy means for us. And I'm not talking about happiness, which is more of an extended state, but in each moment, what is happy? I would like to make happy a verb. And no matter when I write anything up, like Grammarly and all the stuff, all the autocorrect want me to change it. Like, I am here. I know that my gift in this world is to help people find their happy. And I want it to be a noun. I want it to be a verb. I want it to be an adjective. I want it to be a pronoun. I want it to be all. It could be a dangling participle. I couldn't get my lips around that one. If it wants to be, but I would love it to be the state that we all exist in. That's true. That's not fake. I'm not talking about social media happy. I'm not talking about masking happy. I'm certainly not talking about that. I'm talking about what is each person's individual happy. How can we help each other get there? And then how can we live in this space that has a joyousness to it with an understanding that pain is going to happen, life is going to happen. I know this is a possibility. I know it's a consciousness, and I know that it is available to all of us. I access it 85% of the time, if we're going to quantify it. But that's because of all of the work I've done, developing my intuition, learning about spirit world, feeling the spirit world around me, and connecting to the eternal part of all of us. So I'm actually heading into a content producing place to bring happy. I can't bring your happy to you, but I can lead you to your happy. I can help you identify what your happy is. What is your ooey gooey, I love being who I am place? And that's what I mean by happy, because that's what this episode is going to be about. That's a very long intro to what this episode is going to be about. My stats are going to go wow, where people didn't stick around, but that's okay. I trust that people who are watching this are drawn to it because of your frequency, and I appreciate that. And it's okay to fast forward to parts two. I do that too, that 30-second fast forward thing. It's okay. So this episode is actually going to be about the connection between happy and intuition, and the connection between intuition and being happy. And there's a whole series coming at you, my friends, about this subject. How is intuition so important to our enjoyment of being human? And what are the practical tips to use our intuition, to integrate it, but to also have an end goal of really loving who we are and being connected to that? And there's, I think, even more of a need right now to define this in whatever way I will. We'll find out, I guess, as we go through the process, in that it's not a case of superficial happy. I think it's really important right now that we figure out for each of us what is our true happy, what is our joy, what is our level of success. Like, what does that mean to you? Have you even asked yourself those questions? Do you know the last time you felt happy? And was it visceral for you? Or was it a fleeting moment and then it just moved on? Because there's so much to this. And we've been said so much BS about the superficial level of happy, the Instagram worthy life of happy, or you see 30 seconds of a clip of somebody's life and you think, well, they must have it all together. And none of us as humans have it all together because it's not possible. But there's that expectation, and then we get down on ourselves. So I am going to spread the message far and wide that everyone has an individual happy. Everyone is responsible for their own individual happy. No one can bring it to you. I can lead you. I can give you the coordinates until you know how to use your own compass, but you still have to be responsible for creating that yourself. And you know why? Because it's such a joyous freaking feeling to realize that you have figured out what lights you up. Like, something as simple as maybe you want to perfect making a gluten-free tart. Like, that's hard. That dough stuff is hard in gluten-free world. Maybe you have an interest in repurposing furniture, but you don't allow yourself to do it because you think that's not enough. But if it brings you joy, it will ripple out into the world. So I am going to call it a mission. I am on a mission to encourage every person to know what their happy is, to follow their happy, and then spread that energy out into the world, because we need more of that. We have enough sadness. We have enough pain. We have enough trauma. We have enough of all that. And we're still going to acknowledge that. We're going to allow everything to have its place, and all emotions are valid. We are going to look at, and we are going to create happy, because we inherently as souls are very joyful beings. Everyone's soul is silly. Everyone's soul is effervescent and bubbly, not in that annoying bubbly way, but in a, oh, the new flavors of seltzer are out bubbly way. So I want to, as we go through the different episodes, I want to dispel some of the cultural notions of happiness and talk more, and have you connect more into your intuition so that you can then define what is your happy. Because there's no doubt that your intuitive sense, which is your first sense, not your last sense, which is what the podcast used to be called for those of you OG members, your level of intuition is dependent on you tapping into it. But it came in as your first son. It's the very first thing that you had. You came in naked with no teeth, trusting somebody to take care of you. Most animals in the animal kingdom can make it on their own. We can't. So that level of intuition to me is just this heightened, a beautiful thing that is waiting to be accessed. And intuition is that voice. It is that guidance system that is available, but also requires connectivity, and it requires acknowledgement. Like, oh, I had that gut feeling, or oh, I knew that was going to happen. How did I know that was going to happen? Why didn't I listen to myself? How many times have you said that? Eh, eh, That was your intuition. So as we connect the dots between your intuition and your happy, you will also realize that each time you weren't feeling great, you likely weren't listening to your intuition either. I know it's true for me. I know even before I knew the word intuition, there were times where I felt this is not cool. I don't like this, but I didn't listen, and I allowed my people pleasing ways, or, the child who was smacked around ways, to just go with the flow and to not buck the system. But that intuitive voice kept coming up over and over again to say, listen. So your intuitive self will do the same thing. So each time you have a pause, it is your intuition saying, hey, can I talk to you a minute? Can we have a conversation? And sometimes it helps to acknowledge or to think of your intuition as something separate from you. Now, we want it to work within you, but sometimes it really does help to have it be a friend you can converse with. Like, what is it that you're trying to tell me? That you can have a dialogue back and forth, and you can have that feeling of some part of you to bounce it off of, right? So if you have to make a decision, or if you are acquiescing to doing something you don't want to do because your subconscious has said, remember, this makes your mother mad if you don't do it. Now, that's very real. That's in your neural pathway, but your intuition will likely drop in and say, but that's not in your best interest. So if you can learn to dialogue with it, you have this whole beautiful system that is only looking out for your best interest. Okay. And I know I shut mine down. I still sometimes turn mine off and say, no, I know that, but I'm not going to listen to it. It's less these days because I made a major bomb decision with a dog, and I felt so bad disrupting the dog's life for 24 hours that I decided I knew not to take that dog. I still took the dog because I wanted to make everybody happy. Mike wanted a dog. The person I knew had this dog, needed to get rid of it. The dog needed a home that was better for it. I'm like, I can deal with anything. I can put up with anything. I had every warning bell of intuition, every spirit guide smacking themselves in the head, saying she's not listening. I even had over an hour ride home, although he was a good boy on the ride home. So he just turned into a terror once we got to the house. Well, he turned into himself that was responding to the situation that he was in. He was not a terror. He was high energy. And we basically want the lump of a dog that we got, who wants to do the things, can't say it out loud, or she'll want to do the thing, but doesn't, uh, isn't on high alert all the time. That's where I am in my life. But I didn't listen to that. I shut it down because I wanted to make everything okay for everybody. This was only a year ago. Actually, this was only about 6 months ago. So my point being, you can have it fully activated and know that it's even your greatest asset and still not listen. And that's okay. Like, that's okay, because you learn, and then you become more committed to having everything run through that system. So it's a crucial part of us living a life that is happy. I knew it wasn't the right thing for this person. I knew it wasn't the right thing for the dog. I knew it wasn't the right thing for Mike. It certainly wasn't the right thing for our relationship because that was the first fight in 4.5 years. Well, it's good. We cleared some air. um, flashbacks. But it's an important part how we can be connected to our own happy and our own truthfulness and what is important. And it can connect with everyday life. I know you'll see, like if you follow any readers or anything like that on social media or YouTube or anything, like there can be a lot of fanfare, like a lot of drama and expansive descriptions and stuff with intuition, mediumship, psychicness, all of that, readers and things. But intuition is actually kind of boring. It's fun in that once you have it really connected in your own awareness that it's one of your superpowers, it's fun to toss things back and forth. But it's not this big show every day. It's more of a, "Huh, I knew that. Oh, that feels right. No, not doing that." And I would love for you to feel that peace, like to feel that certainty, to know that you absolutely have this. And it's a key component to being happy. Because if you're not listening to that aspect of you, if you're not listening to that intelligence, like you have your cognitive intelligence, you have your emotional intelligence, well, you have intuition intelligence too. And if you're not listening to it, you will create a discourse and you'll just work harder at being human. And why the heck are we doing that? There's enough to deal with without working harder. So everyday life gets to be that much easier. And yes, if you fine tune it enough and you're one of those people who can find things, that's really cool. Or if you know things before people know of things, that's really cool as well. But it's more about listening to your soul self. I mean, psychic means soul. So it's more about listening to that this is vitally important. It's knowing when to not take a job. It's knowing when to connect with a person or not. It's understanding that you're not serving yourself by continuing to tell the story of childhood abuse. You're no longer in that situation. Heal it or stop telling the story. Heal it and stop telling the story. That could be an and. So it's intuition is your wiring. It's in your physical body. Your intuitive brain is on your right side. And it is something that becomes much more activated the older you get. It's part of the evolutionary process. But that doesn't mean if you're in your 18, if you're 20, if you're 10, that you don't have this. Actually, the kids who are being born now, are they wired and just amazingly. And man, are they here to teach us. And I love it because our evolution is bringing about higher wired kids. And we ask for that, right? Because previous generations, well, we may have bumbled a few things and we need some to come in with new ideas and to come in with a frequency that is love and that is practical, right? So we all have the intuitive part of our brain and it's right here. And it activates largely when you go through your 30s and 40s. But again, you can completely access this at any point. And what it does is it has a conversation with your cognitive self and it bounces. Oh, let's mess up the hair. It bounces back and forth, but it also comes down to your throat and communication. It comes down to your heart. It goes to your power center and down into your lower chakras. And it's a full body experience that once you have it circulating and once you have an awareness of it, you actually don't think of it much. It's like being right-handed or left-handed. You just naturally pick up the implement with the hand that has become dominant. So you want to actually be in a place where your intuition is so on board that you don't have to pause and go, "What do you say? What do you mean? This isn't a good idea." That it becomes like your auto responder. It's in there and it's sending you data and it's going back and it's reflecting on other in split second moments. So whether that means that you feel it because you are very clairsentient, you see it because you're clairvoyant, it just drops in because you're claircognizant, maybe you hear it because you're clairaudient. None of those labels really matter except to know where you are most likely to connect in with your intuitive self. Where the happy comes in is when that's on board and when you are firing all of your neural pathways, there's a centeredness that happens because you haven't left a part of you sitting somewhere on a park bench and forgot to go back and get them. And the subtle signs and cues that indicate the presence of your intuition, I really believe are subtle so that we have to do a little bit of work to pay attention. They're not big smacks upside the heads. They're not billboards. But once you pay attention to it, it becomes more evident to you and then more automatic. And I mean, this has been backed up in psychology with testing neuroscience, like being able to access the right part of your brain in that intuitive center has been used very widely in large corporations in our government and not always to the best end, but acknowledged to be part of our brain. And I really do believe that we have not even tapped into even a small portion of what we're capable of. But the more that you pay attention to it and the more that you connect with it and you support your neural pathways by clearing up some of your trauma, by connecting to what does happy even stinking mean to me? I mean, what does that mean? I'm actually writing a course right now that I've loosely called What Does Happy Even Mean? Because it's so abstract and yet it's something we all want. And I have created ways to get there for my people individually. I'm like, why not create a course that can get multiple people there? You have to do the work. I can't do the work for you. But what does it even mean? And when you're asking those questions of yourself, what does happy mean to me? It activates your neural pathways and it strengthens them and it gets all partners on board. Like, have you ever seen that movie Inside Out? And she's got, oh, there's a second part coming. I'm so excited. I love that movie. But she's got all her emotions on these islands and they're all in charge of something. And then they have to learn to work together and that everybody's valid, that sadness is important. They have her on a shelf over there. Oh, she's right up there. I forgot I moved her. That sadness, that anger, that frustration is all important. Well, this is the same of our intelligence, our body intelligence, our all the other ones I mentioned before. I won't repeat myself. So when you are asking yourself, what does happy even mean? How do I get there? I don't even know what that is, which is a very common statement. And it's going to change throughout your life. So if you can say, I don't even know what happy is, well, be proud of yourself and get excited about that because that means your wire will start to kick in and say, oh, they want to know what happy means. We better start looking for what makes them happy and what brings joy. And you might just be surprised about what that is. I made a connection this morning to my dog's name and somebody I knew years ago. And I'm like, that never dawned on me. And that they had the same name. And it just made me laugh in that moment and brought such joy to my life. I'm like, this makes me happy. I feel like that Willow had a different outcome, but it was great because I had used my own intuition and created a boundary. And then this willow, it brings such love. Yes, you wrinkly little face. To our house. And I'm like, who's this thing? And that's something that, my brain went and got in the back here and connected the dots because I completely forgot. What's helping me with that is the magic mind that I've talked about before. I'm going to tell you more about it now because what it does is it supports my emotional centers by supporting my electrical centers, is what it feels like. I cannot do fake the supplements and all that kind of stuff. My system does not like it. I get jittery. I get annoyed. And my stomach gets upset. And then I just feel awful. And some of them taste so bad too. So when Magic Mind came about last year for me and I tried it, I was like, this stuff is good. It tastes so good. It's got some sweetness to it, got the matcha in it that I love anyway. And I adore the fact that it supports my neural pathway work because I do a lot of it when I'm working with people. My neural pathway, I'm reading intuitively. I'm putting it through my trainings and the work I've had to become certified in neural pathway work. And then I'm also, I got to be present and empathic. So it helps me to connect with people and to stay sharp. And it keeps me kind of level all day long. And I notice more of a benefit after about my fifth day on it. And I do it every other day. I don't take it every day, every other day. And about the fifth day in there, I'm like, well, good morning, Vicki. You are back online. I feel like it helps me get into a creative flow much easier. And a lot of that is because of the natural release that the matcha has. And it's not enough caffeine to disrupt my system and not sleep later on. If you'd like to check it out, you can go to magicmind.com/Vicki Baird. And the code is Vicki20 and you'll get 20% off. Sign up for a subscription, you get 56% off. So if you already have a subscription, use the Vicki20 code for your next one and you'll get 20% off your subscription. They have 100% money back guarantee. So you're not going to lose anything. But what you will gain is that clarity and that focus. And it's like a little treat. It's 2 ounces of just joyousness. So that's one of the ways that I support my work and being able to be present for you and for my many clients. I used my intuition when it came to the product because I don't take anything that doesn't resonate with my energy field. I just won't. I can be at a restaurant and if I feel like the kitchen has rough energy, listen, not before I've placed my order and created that. I wouldn't do that. But if we get seated and this has happened and I feel, oh, no, I'm not eating that food. Um, they are angry back there. Somebody's got an attitude problem. It could be that I don't even want to look at the kitchen and maybe something's coming to me. I have left and just said, I'm so sorry. Something came up. We have to go. It's not happening because it's important to know that that impacts your frequency too, whatever you put in. So it's like whatever you're watching or the people you're hanging out with. So trusting your intuition in that sense, it takes decision making out of it. Like there's no guilt in me getting up and leaving. I can still do it kindly and respectfully, but I can also remove myself from other situations that just don't feel right. Being able to trust your intuitive knowing will help you distinguish between what is fear. Maybe the fear that you are feeling is okay. Like maybe you're nervous about this new opportunity. But if you don't tap into your intuition, if you don't know yourself well enough, you may pass up a great opportunity because you're seeing it as fearful and, oh my gosh, I can't do this, rather than tapping in and saying, oh, there's something coming that's really exciting and going to be great for me. And I'm nervous. So that's how it can lead to happy because you will feel happy that you maybe took that chance and you stepped out and you you leaned into it. You basically fell into your trust for your intuition and you depended on that. And it can help you to create amazing circumstances in your life that your subconscious just wants no part of because it's like, peace out. I'm scared. I'm out of here. Okay. There are circumstances where that's important. You do need to listen to that. But one way that you can tap into this intuition is the next time you have to make a decision, just pause. Just pause. We move too fast in this world. Pause, consider, think, feel, and take a breath and tap in to whatever it is that you have to make a decision about and listen to all those centers. What is your physical body telling you? What is your cognitive head saying? Okay, now what's my intuition saying? Intuition's quiet, so you need to listen, but it will sometimes be like that most direct friend that's going to tell you that shirt's awful on you, but they're going to say it in a way like, where'd you get that shirt? So that's the type of delivery that intuition has. Um, and sometimes it is blunt and you can be appreciative for that too. But if you don't pause and think and consider, and I used to be really bad at this. I used to want to get things done so fast or just want to make sure that the other person was okay. And I would agree to stuff, or I'd be saying I could do something that I couldn't do. I wasn't qualified to do. I don't do that anymore. If I don't know how to do something, I'm going to tell you, and you can decide if we still work together or if you still want to hire me. But I'm going to be totally upfront that that is not my joy or my wheelhouse or whatever the expression you want to use is. But that's because I trust my intuition enough to tell me if this situation is even worth investing in, like even worth following up on. So start with something small. Okay. Don't make it a major life decision about where you need to move or getting a divorce or something like that, because emotions can get in the way of intuition until you learn to discern it. People who really tap into their intuitive selves are actually really calm. Sometimes we get accused of being unfeeling, but it's not that. It's that we've learned to listen for the subtle hum of where's the more information, and then the emotions will come after. But I'd much rather listen to my intuitive self than my emotional self, because my emotional self will tell me stories that are not accurate. And I have no interest in your soap opera drama ways, you emotions. So a simple exercise or practice is to pause, to just pause, to take the next decision you have to make. Maybe it's a gift for someone. We're in the holiday seasons, you're purchasing a gift. Maybe it's in that, and you use your own intuitive sense. And a lot of the times, trusting your intuition will have you, in this case, purchasing something that you're like, they're not going to like that. But listen to it and be brave and follow through, because you might just bring happy to someone else because you picked up that thing that was most ridiculous. And they were like, how did you know? And then you get to both be happy. See, told you it was contagious when we have our happy self. So as we move forward, and I talk about the ways that life may be getting in the way of your intuitive self and how you can navigate around that, through it, over it, under it. Listen, we have to be creative, okay? We will be building on your skill sets of intuition, but mostly we will be contributing to that pathway of discernment to what is your happy. So I hope I hope you follow up on the episodes. We're going to delve into it in as many ways as I can to help as many people as I can find their happy, connect with their happy, share their happy, and let's see what we can do in this universe to be happy for others, happy with others, happy about others, and just happy across the board. So it's both a very simple thing to talk about and a very complex thing to talk about, which is why I love it because intuition is very simple and yet it's really hard. So let's find the middle ground where we're using both and we're building to help you be in the most joyous place that you can be for your life. Because then, oh God, I'm so excited. So thank you. You know where to find me. Vicki Baird Coaching, Vicki at VickiBaird.com. Message on here, subscribe, leave a comment. I appreciate all the reviews because that's how it works and that's how I get found. I share this with friends who may be considering and trying to figure out where their happy is too. We'll all find our happy. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to VickiBaird.com. That's VickiBaird.com. And check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.